Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing an upgrade on springs on the Godspeed Monomax Coilovers. So today we're just going to start by taking all this plastic off. I don't take the entire cowl off of the car. If you take off just the 3 pieces on each corner and the little circle piece, that one right there, you'll get access to the top 3 bolts that hold the strut on the upper side. You'll see a video later that should give you a better close-up of this area. Now that that's all loose or clear up there, we're just going to move on to the lower side. I do clean these threads. If I had a wire brush, I'd use a wire brush. I do have one, I can't find it, or I couldn't find it at least this day. So you got to start by loosening the rings, both for the spring and for the strut. There we go. So I use a rubber mallet for this method, and then once it's loose, just move over to the other one. And once they're fairly loose, you can do these by hand. But like, yeah, that one's just, these are just the locking rings. The one that really takes a while is the next one. This is the one for this the preload. So this doesn't work just for upgrading, but if you're also doing, let's just say, a replacement spring, if for whatever reason the spring failed, or if you just want to take your suspension apart and clean it up, this is exactly how you would do it. So as you can see, these take a few turns until they're actually loose, but just elbow grease it. It always helps to clean the threads. Again, I can't stress enough, for the longevity of the coilovers and making things easy, you do not want to be grinding through dirt. These things pick up a lot of dirt as they drive. So that's it. Once they're loose, we can move on to the next step. Okay. Guess I took my time adjusting the camera there. No biggie. Right here, we're trying to back up the nut for the tie rod end link, or sway bar end link. But I end up using my big hammer for this one. I guess these are starting to get a little tight, but whatever. So once that's out of the way, you can get rid of the 12 millimeter. The one up top was a 14 mil for the sway bar end link, and this one is a 12. I'm always very gentle with this one because the little metal bracket that it holds on to, it's very flimsy. So I don't just strong arm this one. There's no need. Okay, up next it's the clips. This clip gave me a little bit of trouble. The bolt was really in the way, so I gave up and I decided that it was easier to do when the bolt is out of the way. Yeah, that's the thing. This I thought this didn't take me that long, but gosh, quit. Come on, Barry, just quit on that thing. All right, the one on the back, it's broken, so I just have to cut a zip tie off. Came like that from the used dealer, so don't blame me. You guys always see me doing this, trying to take care of my stuff. Okay, so is this a point that yeah, the 22 mil and the 19 mil. So this is 19 mil socket, 22 mil open-ended wrench. And now you'll see how I can just remove the clip like I wanted to the first time. Okay, So now you can see from the top how I can get better access to the 3 bolts that hold up the this piece here. And as you can see, it's a lot better to actually have, I'm holding the hood with my head here so that I can drop it if I need to, and there you go. So once that's loose, you now have access to all the 3 bolts holding up the strut on the upper side, and you do not need to take the rest of the cowl off. Every other DIY that I find out there for coilovers for this car, for suspension, these guys have this whole thing just taken completely apart. I don't get it. Anyway, all these bolts, just to get back to sizing, are 14 mil bolts. Try not to lose one back here. I lost one during this this DIY. Luckily, I had the bolts that came with the car originally. What I found best is just, you know, losing them, and you can take them out almost all the way, but then just, you know, do the rest by hand. Because once they get lost back here, I have no idea where they go. I even did a burnout and I couldn't find the bolts or the nuts. So there you go. I think at this point, just like that, easy peasy. This strut is not very heavy, which is kind of the nice thing about working with an aftermarket coilover. The OEM one is a little bit heavier, but you can still do the same thing. There she is. Back now to the table. Here we go. Now we got to take off these 3 rings and the base. So what I did was, see, I put my nice little Swift spring coilover to the side. This can obviously go to the floor because we all know what that is. There's a little ring here, and notice that there are some, notice how this goes together. Just, I try to put everything face down as it went in. This has some grooves just like that. You see those? Those face the top of the strut. And I'm playing this one super fast because this is pretty boring. These threads are very, very fine. I just go right at it. Just gotta be like a machine. And again, I set it down the way that it'll come back up. Who's bothering me here? This is probably, I know who this is. This is probably Jose from MercRacing and Han, the Black Asian. And again, I keep my rag here just to try to clean some of the threads. This is crazy. 180 times the speed. Still not fast enough. Alright, there she goes. And there's the old spring. Just for information's sake, the spring that it comes with is 560 pounds or thereabout. The one I'm changing it with is 676 pounds. All right, so you do want to clean all this stuff up. Wipe it down, get any crud, any dirt. That'll just make it a lot easier. So the spring goes in. It actually, the spring is 60 millimeters, and that hat that it sits on is 62. It's pretty tight. I did the same things on the rear. I didn't replace the hat. But it sits pretty easy on the top of the strut here. I'm gonna try to give you guys the best view, but at some point I do have to get this sort of sitting and try to squish it in, not screw it in. I know it's, you know, obviously it's going to get screwed in when you're putting it into preload, but originally you want it to be sort of as flat and as smooth as possible. And now for this one, speed. Okay, so I ended up separating this one. I thought it was easier to get the collar onto the spring first, and then screw the what is that called? I don't know. The screw, whatever. You guys know what it is by now. Okay, so the bottom one gave me a little bit more trouble. It didn't want to sit flush and flat. It wanted to bend a lot. See, like right there, had a little bend. I did my best at putting it on there, holding it down until the whatever little. I'm gonna remember what the thing is called by the end of this video. I'm gonna remember it, just not right now. But yeah, just get that thing screwed in as best as you can by hand, because you want it to be nice and flat. We're almost done. And again, I made a note in which order things went in. It's pretty obvious. You really can't screw this up, but not just the order, but how each collar sort of met each other. So up next is this one. All you perverts, start the jokes. Okay, there's this. Making sure that goes back in, and there we go. So now we're just gonna screw this thing all the way up, all the way in. Be gentle with it. You don't want to strip any of it. I don't think you can, but anyway, here's a finished product. At this point, all you really got to do is work your way back, put the strut, coilover back in the car, set your preload. If you want to know more about setting preload and adjusting your coilover, adjusting the height, I'll put a link right here on this video so you could go ahead and rewatch that video. Till next time, peace out.